All right, ladies and gentlemen, another episode of I Am Stand Up podcast. Um, my guest today, writer, actor, director, solid dude. Lil Rel is in the building. Like, we'll maybe at some point post I like start doing a round of applause thing. Maybe not. Welcome to the booth.
You can add that in post.
I could, we do a whole lot of stuff in post.
People love posts. People love saying that. People love to be like, yeah, we can put that in post.
I mean, listen, for those that know what it is, that like for comics that make it to the other side, they become producer, directors, and editors. As this space opens up, like you just hear more comics say, "Hey, we'll fix it in post."
That drives me crazy though. I don't like when people depend on whatever they're doing post. Like even with effects, sometimes they're like, yeah, we could just. Fam, you know our budget. Like, what are you talking about?
Fix
like,
it now.
Whatever we go do ain't gonna look that great.
Mm-hmm. Well, like there's this desire for things to be perfect in the space that we're in now, and the reality is, I'm having to learn the hard way. Like, you just got to let things be what they are.
Dude, I like, I think that's why, like, if you love this, even just, from stand-up comedy specials to feature films, I like watching older stuff because they had to make some very creative decisions to make it look real. To make like when you watch Nightmare on Elm Street and you watch those practical scares, it's like,
Yeah,
damn, that's good because they didn't depend on the CGI and all this other stuff.
didn't have it.
They didn't have it, so they had to really get really creative.
I'm gonna tell you what's interesting about that is that, look, social media has some very ugly sides, but there's some sides of social media that you find value in, that I found value in, because I follow this account now where they show you, there's one that show you all of the magic tricks, right? But there's another one that I followed that showed you how Charlie Chaplin pulled off some of the stunts. Like, you see him roller skating in certain spaces and doing stuff over a building, and like, how did he do that back then? They didn't have. And one of the stunts that he pulled off, like, he did this thing where he jumped through this lady's stomach into a wall, and the lady her legs were up, there was a curtain, and then like the magic of how they did it, he jumped through, and then her legs swung down and she came off the wall with. It's just incredible, right? But again, it speaks to your point of like innovation, and the lack of technology back then forced them to be creative in ways that we don't even pay attention to now.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I think about that a lot, which is why, like, it's interesting because everything I believe comes back in a weird way. And so even with just Star Wars, I know, like, the beginning of them doing that, like the special effects game we have now, it's because of movies like Star Wars and those guys who were doing very creative things, and then they end up creating this whole other thing. So it's really interesting. I like, once again, now that I'm directing and things like that, is like I'm just even more fascinated by all the camera tricks and angles and this and that. And so it's just even just going through the editing process of the feature I just directed, and trying to figure out things practically I want to do, and even just stuff from performances, even stuff that's just sound stuff, even stuff that's just like, okay, let's just keep it on his face and then make the music louder. And it's all these little things that, because last night that's what I was doing, so that's why I still fresh.
Is he editing?
Yeah, I was watching the last cut that the editor did, and I'm, before we get to our VFX person and the sound mixer, I'm trying to think of things specifically that I want to use and try. And it's funny because after I'm done with this today, I'm going to call a couple of my director friends that's been helping me and ask a couple of questions I may have.
It's interesting. So this is your first feature film that you're directing. This is your feature film debut. What's the film? It's Haunted Heist?
It's called Haunted Heist, yep.
And what's the...
It's a horror comedy about four friends who link back together, thinking they were just linking back up just to kind of catch up and hang out. But it turns out that one of them kind of has a scheme and a plan to basically rob this house, but they don't know it's haunted. You know what I'm saying? And that's when the craziness ensues. So, yeah.
Where it's so interesting to, obviously you and I building some stuff together and having a lot of conversations. And so that's why I was kind of anxious to sit down with you as I'm starting this podcast. I am stand up because I want to talk to comics. You know what I mean? I had Cedric here and sat down with him.
Nice.
I had JB Smooth. I had Takar Williams. But there's just, to me, some conversations as I was looking at other podcasts. I could look at Club Shay Shay and, saw Damon on there. And the thing that stood out to me is like, while Shannon Sharp has an incredible platform, he's not a comic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a different conversation that happens when it's comics talking to comics.
He's just a fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing I get Shannon. He's legitimately a fan. That's why I like the intros. The intros be amazing.
They're long as hell.
But guess what?
They're long, like.
But it's funny, as a comic, though, it's so funny you say that, because when I used to host, I used to want to get people intros perfectly right. I still do to this day. I don't like how people half-ass my intros, because I've done a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I like that brother, I don't care what the speed was, read off my resume. Because you know what's funny? Because for years, especially when you do stand-up, all we had at one time was Comic View and Def Jam.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, you didn't tape it. So people just lied. It was just
There's
like,
a lot of comics that said they were on Def Comedy that were not on Def Comedy.
But the host would say it because they needed the crowd. And the crowd would even know.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to Comic View, because there was so many comedians that did it. They were like, yeah, okay, I guess he was on Comic View. I missed his episode.
Yeah.
So you could just throw out Comic View for anybody.
Right.
So when you start,
and it legitimized them.
So when you start getting the actual credits,
it means something.
It's like, look, man, I'm kind of a movie star, y'all. Like, I run down my shit. You know what I mean?
It's so interesting because my perspective on it is, and again,
and LA's different. It's so funny. LA comics don't give a fuck about putting your credits out there.
You mean when they hosting a show
when
or
they intro you? Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of be like, hey, you know who it is. It's kind of weird, but like when you're in Chicago, we Steve Harvey it. You know what I'm saying? What he did with the Kings of Comedy. But the LA comics don't.
Wait, explain that.
So it's like, yo, coming to the stage. You just seen this young man on the stuff he did on the Rail show.
It's a build-up.
It's a build-up. In LA, I don't know if it's kind of like sometimes it feel like it's a jealousy thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like
they try to minimize,
or they try to like either hurt your ego. Like, y'all know who it is.
Yeah. Try to put you in your place.
Y'all know who I am for real. Stop fucking doing that, you asshole.
Right.
It's just kind of crazy.
Here's what my perspective on it is, and it was shaped by me bringing one person to the stage, and that person. Look, I don't know how I used to look. How many films have you done now? 30?
Yeah, like 30.
Yeah, about 30 films, right? And so I've introduced you, right? We've been out on the road together. I've hosted shows and brought you to the stage, and I like to get the intro right? But it does take up, you have to do some work to go, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, you recognize them, and it's a build up to your point. And right, when you do it, when you have a host that gets it right, it's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
There is something to be said. I was doing a mixtape comedy show, my show in New York, every third Sunday at Gotham Comedy Club. And man, I had the good fortune of Jerry Seinfeld coming to do the show, right? And Jerry is Jerry. He's arguably, to me, one of the biggest things in comedy. Period, hands down, stand up. I don't care who. He's Jerry Seinfeld.
Yep.
Some respect on that man's name, Jerome Seinfeld, right? And so he's there, and out of respect as the host, you should ask the talent you're bringing to the stage, hey, how do you want me to bring you up? You know what Jerry Seinfeld said to me? He said, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Seinfeld.
Well, I was watching him in an interview. Jerry Seinfeld said that he never wanted to do Seinfeld. Like, he just wanted to be a stand-up comic. That's literally, I just saw this maybe yesterday. Okay. He said, all I want to do is, so that makes sense for him. Like, which is like, he doesn't even care about like he's one of the, I don't want to call Jerry lucky, but
he's definitely not lucky.
He's not lucky
because he's worked to position himself to become Jerry Seinfeld.
But here we go. When you have a successful show like it did, it was able to elevate him as a stand-up comic, right?
Sure.
That's the one of the reasons why most of us need the credit, right? To elevate our money, to bring us a bigger audience,
Yeah.
to put us in front of. So like, and the reason why I say he's lucky because most sitcoms, man, this is some real. This is a real conversation, especially with black comedians, really have to lead that show. Martin had to lead Martin for real. Sid had to lead every sitcom he was on. Flip Wilson had to lead his show. Like they had to,
in order to what? For the purpose of what?
to make because it feel like when you're a black star, and I'm gonna keep it 100. It's just me. I think it's
Of course, that's what this space is for.
when you're a black star, your star has to shine, stand alone for you to get that type of thing. Jerry Seinfeld. With Seinfeld, to this day, if I could be really honest, I don't think Jerry could act.
Listen.
But
That's public information.
I know.
Is like they had to put a cast around him to.
But that's my point. They won't do that with any of us. Like it won't even, like if you're not gonna be the star and this is your show, if you're not gonna be the standout, you're not gonna keep that show for real.
Well, the question is this:
Here's stand-up perspective.
You have been the star of your own sitcom.
Yeah.
I've been the star of my own sitcom.
Yeah.
How much room did they give you? How many episodes did they give you before the show was canceled?
I had 13.
You had 13?
Yeah.
13 aired?
12 aired.
12 aired,
Yeah.
right? I had 4 aired. So the real question is, right, we're brand new to this at the time. And learning. How much runway do they give you in order to figure out what you're doing? Because nobody.
Well, they think about this. The first, once again, this is a brother who loves Jerry Seinfeld. The first season of Seinfeld is not good. The first 3 to 4 episodes is so bad. But then, it was a time where sitcoms did have more leeway. Like
No, not sitcoms. Let's. This is the point I'm making. Depending upon who you are.
So if you look at Give Me a Break, right? Was that Nell Carter show or was that the white guy show?
That was Nell Carter show.
So Give Me a Break wasn't good neither the first season.
Okay.
So I love this shit. And then like for me, every time
I do too.
I know, but what I was going to say, Roy, every time I end up doing something, like say, when I got the sitcom and Carmichael show, my own show, I end up like, I go beyond a fan after that, and then I overly research. So I rewatch everything and be like, this wasn't a good pilot. The fuck?
Yeah.
And then like, even just, you remember back in the day, which was so cool, and I hate we don't do that anymore, they used to just show the pilots, like, just to see what the audience thought.
You mean go test the show?
Yeah, like to the audience.
People in the mall would like have a
No. It will come on TV.
Mm-hmm.
It will air. Just they ain't picked the show up yet.
Yeah.
Tonight we're showing a special presentation of Give Me a Break. You're like, oh, okay. After MASH.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it was tested in real time.
Okay.
Which doesn't happen anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, television is completely, the business of TV has changed.
Well,
completely.
You know what's interesting? Some of it should have changed, and some of it, to be honest with you, it could go back to that. Because I think that would help a lot. I think now we do these weird private versions of testing, right? We don't know who these people that get off the street. You know what I mean? I remember when we tested Rel, and you watch it, right? You sit in the room.
They want middle America to respond.
They don't know you're there. I want to see America, because the thing about it is, most of the time with our shows, they don't even like, it's not even middle America. It's
when you say our shows, what do you mean? Black people shows, black sitcoms?
Black shows. You know what I'm saying? It's not even tested in front of a real black audience. You just said middle America. They don't go test these. We don't go fly to fucking Chicago, Minnesota.
We don't go to Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago. No, they go to Wisconsin or wherever.
We go to Burbank, nigga.
Yeah, Burbank, exactly.
We don't leave the city.
Yeah.
That's who we test. These people.
Same people that went to.
They're professional testers.
Yes. Yeah.
They know how to fill out the paper and shit. I want to go to a place where they looking around like, wait a minute, ooh, this little room in the TV?
Yeah.
Do we get popcorn? They don't know what the fuck they get into. These people be professional.
They done watched 1,000 hours of TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's their job. And so, that's what I used to love about when it just came on a national thing. Like, the audience had to find it, was excited. What did they think? And then they really asked people. And so, I think we could get back to a version of that. It's just now we just deal with a lot of like just executives and everything is lazy now. And I think that's what we're seeing with, people not using comedic stars anymore or making stars out of comedians anymore with sitcoms and movies and
You
things
said
like that.
making stars out of comedians. Why you say making stars out
Well,
of
I'm
comedians?
talking about outside of stand up, like when they could grab a comic like, I love your set, we're gonna let you star in this movie. Before they have a big following, anything like that, it was just like, the industry could make us used to be.
There's no question. Chris
make a
Tucker's
star.
a prime example of the industry going, we're going to turn him into a star.
Yeah,
And they did.
and they did, and he just and deserving because he was talented.
There's no question.
And so, like, it's just interesting that we don't.
I wish his stand up would have continued to evolve.
It was tough, but that's tough.
I wish if Chris Tucker would have stayed, I don't know what happened. Something happened.
Well, Roy, what you think happened?
I don't know.
I could tell you what happened.
Well, tell me. I'm interested.
When you, and it's interesting because this is what separates Eddie Murphy from most people. Even though Eddie was really young and it popped off pretty quick, he did get a chance to do stand up for a really good period of time, like as a
4 years,
that's still strong.
18 to 20, 21.
But think about this. I'm glad you said that. He was still going up at like real spots and doing real spots on things. It's Eddie Murphy tapes you can buy that before he got SNL, and you hear the material he was doing was fucking insane. I'm like, nigga, that nigga was how old?
Right. At 19 years old, he's doing
full
on bits.
Before 19, 16, Eddie Murphy. It is tapes. It is cassette tapes of sets of 6. You could hear the 16 in this nigga.
Yeah.
But it was so polished because you could tell he was going up.
He was
every
working
fucking night.
Yeah.
And so Chris Tucker came into this time where, like, when Def Jam was happening, it was a little more microwave. So, like, if you do a Def Jam, maybe you only been doing comedy a year, less than a year, but you had a quick 5 minutes.
Yeah, you on.
Shubity Dobos, you know what I'm saying? And so, like,
you got to explain to me at some point Shubity Dobos too, but we'll come back to that.
Yeah,
I never understood Shubity, but for some reason,
it's the quickest story in the world.
Go.
So I started saying Shubity Dobos because Backyardigans was making my kids laugh, like these little cartoons she was making them laugh. And they wasn't saying shit but bullshit, and I got jealous as a comic, which was weird.
Okay.
They was babies. I'm like, that ain't funny.
Yeah.
So I started saying, well, Shubity Dobos, and that's what I started doing, and it became a part of my lingo.
But did it make them laugh?
Yeah, it made them laugh.
Okay.
And then
that's Shubity Dobos.
Shubity Dobos.
Okay.
But it became my yada yada yada. That's how much of a Seinfeld fan I am.
Got it.
I'm like, oh, I also can say this and I don't have to say what it means. I don't have to say what I really meant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but the yada, classic Seinfeld, yada yada yada.
Here's the thing. Can I admit something to you? Never watched Seinfeld. If I watched one episode, I just didn't get it. And maybe that's because the first season, if it don't take, like, again, maybe it's culturally, wasn't evolved enough to get it, but.
I was obsessed with that show. And it wasn't when it was on live. It's when they started showing reruns on Fox 32 Chicago. Yeah. And it'd be on at like 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right. It was one just George Costanza thing that caught me. I'm like, huh. And because it came, when they started doing the reruns, it came on every single fucking day.
Yeah.
And so you could catch up. So I
quickly, it wasn't have to wait. You didn't have to wait.
I had to wait.
That's interesting.
That's how I caught it before streaming existed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You was binge watching before streaming.
Yeah. And that's how I fell in love with Seinfeld. And Curb, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Not through reruns,
but Curb is like.
Some niggas put me on Curb. Some black drug dealing ass niggas love Larry David.
In Chicago.
Yeah.
Curb is so good.
It's because but you know what's crazy? I never thought I could relate to a Jewish white man, but I felt like I was watching me. Like, I related to Larry David because I get irritated. And it's like, I don't know how to leave it alone.
It blows me away. Like, you get irritated about everything, and I still don't understand it, but,
But that's what I love about Larry David. He can't control, like,
yeah.
He can't not say nothing. And, like, I'm exactly like, which is why my kids are assholes. And when you had kids really know who you are. So they see it happen. They will be at a restaurant like,
yeah, here it goes. Yeah.
Like, Like they just be crying, they fucking bullying.
It's interesting that we have that in common because when I go to a restaurant, my kids know if they try to seat us somewhere near like a host stand or like, oh God, this is gonna go wild. Dad's gonna say something every time. I'm gonna say something. You can't sit me near host stand. You can't sit me near the door. Like you gotta give me the best seat in the house.
You
We
can't
pay
say
for it.
random shit because I hear everything and I don't know how to just let it be.
Nope.
Like, I mean, I hear you, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you can't make that. Why? I don't understand why you can't make that if you have the, But that's maybe. What was you watching in Chicago sitcom wise?
Man, everything when I think about it. Like I said, I love Seinfeld. I absolutely love Sanford and Son. Didn't realize my grandfather, who's my mom's dad, who was a pastor, was a big Red Fox fan.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved Sanford and Son. Which now that I look at like older pictures and stuff, and I can see like, cause you can see when people like really are fans of somebody, they almost act like them a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though he was a pastor, he was like a Red Fox.
Yeah. He started taking on.
But he was walking and had this little walk in the suit. It's very funny, man. And so like Sanford and Son, the Three Stooges was fucking hysterical to me. And I'm just throwing out all because I was such a TV watcher as a kid. I love to watch reruns of things. I love Martin, like everybody else did. Fresh Prince, Cosby Show, Different World. It was just certain characters I gravitated to. Dwayne Wayne was, Kadeem Hardison. I'm a huge fan of this dude. He was one of the first celebrities I ever wrote. I wrote Dwayne Wayne.
Yes.
But I got a postcard from Kadeem Hardison.
Really?
Yeah, so you a fan, so they be sending out fans. You write a star.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm about to get a postcard. I'll never forget this from Dwayne Wayne with the glasses, and I got my shit from Kadeem Hardison. This nigga was on a motorcycle with a leather jacket. They just like, man, who the hell you been writing, right? Why you racing nigga with a leather jacket with his leg? And I was like, oh, this is not Dwayne. Where's his glasses? He didn't have his glasses on.
Yeah.
But just a big Different World fan. Big Family Matters, TGI. I love Perfect Strangers. I love Full House.
I was watching everything.
I'm not lying to you. When there was a lineup on, I watched the
whole lineup.
Fucking lineup. So TGIF, I watched everything. Even when the WB went on a run. Family Ties is one of my favorite shows of all time. Michael J. Fox is one of the reasons why I wanted to be an actor. And it was one special episode to this day. I tried to do a version of that episode on the Rel show. I did actually. I did it. So my sitcom, even though it lasted one season, I was able to do things based off my favorite episodes on different sitcoms, which is weird as shit. Nobody knows that. But
why do you think? Two questions. Why do you think Rel only lasted 13 episodes? And if you could do something differently, if you could do that show today, what would you do different?
I think some of it was placing. And, I just mentioned that I used to watch those sitcoms all back to back because they, ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS at that time literally had a sitcom lineup.
Yeah.
They had us on Sunday nights after the cartoons.
At what time? What was your time slot? 8 p.m.?
Yeah, like 8:30.
Sunday, 8:30.
After The Simpsons, at the Family Guy, and at the
oh my God,
Futurama, one of them motherfuckers, American Dad. You watch and think about who that audience is.
Right.
See, back in the day, they at least used to pair you with somebody, and I remember Sid saying that to me when he was doing Soul Man, and we actually really had a conversation about maybe getting me a show to follow his show because he was trying to figure out a way to pair his show with another black show. Because really that's been a big argument for the last maybe almost 10 years with a lot of people who's had sitcoms on network TV. We haven't been paired with anybody.
Well, listen, you can't let too many black people congregate and get together because then it turns into a whole thing.
Yeah, but you make money. Like y'all don't want to make money like I did the other times. It just became really. But I also believe that enough people didn't fight for that neither. I think some niggas just got their money. It was like, shit, I got a show. Fuck it. Some people got their EP credit and was just happy with the credit. They didn't give a fuck about all the other shit. It's only a few people. You see, I mentioned said. I've only had that conversation with a few people who actually really gave a fuck about that, and it wasn't just about them getting their bag.
Yeah.
But that was one of the reasons. The other reason is we didn't necessarily fight to keep it after Kevin died. You know,
Yeah.
Kevin Barnett, one of my closest friends, so I started the show with, it was me, Gerard, Kevin, and Josh. We created the show together.
Created your show.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all share created by credits on it?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean that's an interesting story, but I got approached by J.J. Abrams and Jordan Peele to do a show.
Mm-hmm.
Which I always like, dang, maybe I should have did that first. But but I was so adamant about having my own show. You know, I knew what my heat was. I had the heat, you know what I'm saying? And I was at I think I was at Essence Festival. I don't know why I was so inspired or talking to God or something happened. I called Gerard, like, Gerard, hey, would you be interested in helping me create my show? And I see it's Josh and Kevin down to jump on too. So we created Real in Gerard's living room. Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, so it's man, that's always tough. Having to manage loss in this business, and sadly, you and I share in common the loss of a sibling. Right? You lost your brother. I lost my brother. Mine's are so, and I talked about this on the podcast before, was that, my brother was killed in 96. And I had to go, like, July 4th, 1996. And I had to go do the festival. Let's say, no. Like, he's killed on July the 4th. Funeral on July the 11th. Montreal, July 18th. So it's just, like, insane having to kind of manage all of that stuff. And then, like, festival, deal made literally at the festival, right into doing Built to Last. And so again, that's why I asked you, what would you have done differently and what you felt like.
Also, I put too much on myself. I've talked about this a couple times before, but in hindsight, and it's interesting because now it's even deeper because of therapy. So I have another deeper understanding of what I was experiencing at that time. And I let the persona kind of take over in a way, right? I wanted to
the persona, a version of you that you put out in front that you thought you should have been at the time.
Yep. 100%. Like I was trying to act like I knew what I was doing, and I didn't. It was times I'd be in the writer's room and I'd be giving these notes and then go in my office like, do I know what the fuck I'm doing? Like, you know what I mean? But I had let the persona run things. The person who act like they knew what they were doing, they were big time, and I'm this guy, and I'm that guy, and all this other shit. It's weird because it's like that. It's like that you take on that persona of like the people, whoever you look at, like, oh, I like the way they in charge. And you're like, damn,
wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I did, and it's mostly from hip hop shit. So you like, yeah, I saw Dame Dash just walk in the office and tell these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Or
Jesus
Diddy
Christ.
It's just like, but then I created that persona to get to me where I'm at with this fake confidence.
It's funny that you say that, and the thing that comes to mind to me, and I'm sure you'll probably also know what this point of reference is. There's a video that was circulating around the internet of Puff on the phone in his office, probably at Uptown. I get anything out. You remember that that crazy ass wild video?
Yeah.
That
was one of those things where that's what I thought this was. And it's interesting because I think, especially when you I'm from the west side of Chicago.
Why do people from Chicago have to tell you which side of Chicago they're from?
Because we have to be very specific. You can't, because I don't know. I ain't from the south side.
What's different from south side than west side?
Really, honestly, when I left the city, it really ain't no difference.
Yeah.
It's really some shit from the crib, from Chicago. It doesn't, when you come to LA, you meet all the other Chicago people. We just happy to meet Chicago people. This is when we all realize, like, yo, that south side, west side shit don't mean shit, do it? Nah,
it don't.
Just to us in the city, because it do mean something there.
Why does it mean something there?
because gang culture, all types of shit.
Gang culture, segregation,
Yeah, it's
politics of the city.
so much of that. Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, that's interesting. But man, it really is a Chicago thing.
And I love saying where I'm from because I do know it's not a lot of people from the what, like most people think about Chicago, they always talk about the South Side, especially with black people.
Hmm.
And so
Is that where the bulk of black people are?
a lot of people known black people come from,
Hmm.
but it's not the bulk. No, the West Side, South Side probably got the same amount of black people.
Okay.
But the success stories and the famous people, a lot of them come from athletes, South Side. West Side, there's a few of us like Isaiah Thomas, you know what I'm saying? Me, Hannibal Burris. It's not a lot of us.
Okay. Um, the look, this podcast is I am stand up, so I want to pivot back to some stuff specific to stand up, specific to you. And as I look at you, my point of reference is, how long have I known you now? 15 years easily,
Maybe
right?
it could be damn it longer.
Could be a little longer, but there's a couple of points of reference
probably
that I'll
is longer, honestly.
look.
I'm 45 years old.
If I look that way, your poster hangs on my wall for a reason, right? That relevant special to me was a point of reference for something that we got to do together that to me like is important, is so interesting because you fought for me to have an opportunity to co-direct that special, and I learned so much from it. But I'm so proud to have my name on that special, right? But it was born out of a relationship. Damn, where did it even start?
Well, Royale, it's so interesting because it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it really is. Because
We did Stand Up for Family. I remember Stand Up for
I think even before that, though,
Then we had Central Comedy All Stars. Central Comedy All Stars, I literally remember.
You got me there.
I had to fight for you there though, because I had to go to war with Paxton Baker, who was running the.
Mm-hmm.
Because I put your name on the list before your name like rang.
Nobody know who the fuck I was.
They didn't know who you was, but I knew, right?
Yeah.
And I watched you do enough stuff to go, oh, this dude is gonna be a stand-up star, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing about me, like I'm blessed to be in a position where I get to have a helicopter's eye view on some stuff, and I go, oh, this guy, right? And the thing that I love is comics that are committed to stand-up, that love stand-up, right? And there's a small group of cats that I can vibe with, that I go, oh, he knows stand-up comedy. Not only does he know stand-up, he loves stand-up comedy. And so early on, when I started having conversations with you and I became more aware of like your hustle and how much commitment you had made to stand up and making them early DVDs and being out in the streets of Chicago, hustling them rooms and all of that, I was like, oh, this is a guy that is passionate about the craft. And so then I start paying more attention to your stand-up. I was like, oh, this motherfucker's funny. He actually knows his way around a bit and develop stuff that is authentic to your experience. And I'll tell you to your face, like literally you have probably one of my top 10 bits of all time. You know what that bit is?
What?
Nigga, anniversary fried rice is... What is it? I want, can I have? I want, can I have? And let me tell you why that bit works for me personally. Because what happens is, much like Kevin's bit, all right, all right, all right. What happens is, and I'll use all right as the example first. All right, all right, all right is easy for people to repeat, right? You could put all right on a t-shirt and it works and people will go, all right, all right, all right. What people don't really pay attention to is the dad who's on crack, who shows up with no drawers on and gray sweatpants, who needs his son to know, son, with all that I'm going through, I'm still showing up for you. Right? loud. All right, all right, all right. That shit ain't for nobody else at that spelling bee, but for his son Kevin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you can be on stage as one person with a microphone and share a human experience that has heartbreak in it, it has tragedy, it has triumph, it has all of these elements in it, and again, paint that whole world in a way that Kevin was able to do, it's amazing.
And the stage he was able to paint it on.
But this is what I'm saying. It's like when you can do it from a small stage to an arena, to theater to an arena.
What I was about to say to that too is so interesting because I get deep into this shit. That's why like don't I have a not veer off, but we're always I think about can I have I want, right? If that was done, say for instance that was done in Relevant, right? I couldn't do it in Relevant because I taped so many damn TV shows. See, I was in an era where like it was a gang of stand-up 5-minute set shows that was airing on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Century Comedy All-Stars. You had all these different things going on at the same time. Big Black Comedy Show. And because they wasn't giving black comics specials like that,
Mm-hmm.
we had to tape so much shit. Bad Boys, it was so much shit happening. Just for us to stay relevant to make money, every year I had to find a way to tape 2 or 3 of these random ass TV shows. Because at one time, everybody wanted a piece of stand-up.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s, so then, either you were lucky enough to be a part of a group that was before my group, so you can get a special now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember even just I did a set on JB Smooth show he was hosting, the Russell Simmons joint. Yeah, JB Smooth hosted the show. I forgot what it's called. Me, Felipe Esparza was on there.
And it wasn't Def Comedy?
No, and hell no.
It was after Def Comedy?
Way after. Yeah.
And it was a comedy series?
Yeah, on Comedy Central, Russell Simmons did. It was Russell Simmons Presents, and it was hosted by JB Smooth.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
JB hosted that shit. And it was this group, now that I've seen what all of us have done, was a very random group.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers are comedic, whoever they are now, right? Including myself. My episode came on, and I killed that shit. But guess what came on right after that?
What?
Fucking Kevin Hart's first big special, what he did in Cleveland. Laughing
My Pain?
Yeah, the one where LeBron was there.
Yeah. I think that's Laugh at My Pain.
Yeah, and it was.
And it just crushed. It dominated.
Because it was a special.
Yeah.
Even though, nigga, it aired the same night. People were calling me like, nigga, you just killed that shit. Niggas forgot about it.
Yeah.
After all right.
Right. Yeah. That's all they're saying. Yeah.
So it's interesting. I bring that to say, like, man, I've done some classic bits, but on
kids roasting you on
Martin Lawrence First Amendment. You know what I mean? Like, though it was so many shows out, it wasn't like
you did that as well.
Yeah, that's
Doug Williams.
That's the first time I ever did. Can I Have I Won't?
Really?
That's the first time I did it that's the first time I ever did it. And I only did it because my mom had just fucking passed.
Before First Amendment.
Literally a few months before I take First Amendment, my mama just died. I was on the phone with Matt, my brother, reminiscing about her, and that's what it came up at. Like, we were just on the phone crying and talking and shit. He's like, man, you remember she said, like, never want us to have none of her shit. I can't have shit to myself. Can I have? And Matt is my sponge to this day. If anybody I make laugh on a daily basis, and sometimes I'll write down like, oh, that nigga laugh hard as fuck at that shit. Every single day I talk to this nigga, he's my muse, my brother Matt.
Yeah. What's the order between you, Matt, Marcus?
I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
And then Marcus, and then Matt.
And then Matt's the baby. Yeah. The youngest.
And so he just be cracking. He been cracking up at me since he was a baby, nigga. So, like, that's been my muse since forever. And so we was on the phone. I mean, that story, the First Amendment story, is crazy because I think Michael Blackson or somebody missed a flight.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even book the show for. I was actually irritated by that because at that time I was the man in Chicago. I think I did the warm ups for a couple of episodes of First Amendment. And I remember pulling Doug to the side like, nigga, how the fuck I ain't on this show? I'm the man here.
Yeah.
But then that was one of those moments too where God checked my ego at the door. Like, nigga, you can't do everything. And at that time I was taping everything. If they came to Chicago to find a nigga, Lil Rel was gonna be on that shit.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing I didn't get picked for. And I left it alone. And Tiffany came to tape her episode. Tiffany Haddish, my best friend. And so I'm like, Tiff, I'll come down there and support
Tiffany's your best friend?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I got some questions for you about shit she done where the best friend should have called her and said, hey, chill.
Man, but I mean, even we could talk about that.
Yeah, no, that's a different. I tease.
But no, for real, I mean, those will be real conversations. It's not even just chill. Sometimes you need to hear your friend out, man. This is a crazy business we're in. But which actually, that's what I like about your podcast, talking to comedians, because I don't think nobody asks us about the journey to get from just being stand-ups to becoming this other shit.
Yeah,
because it is a fucking.
No, absolutely. It's a lot to manage.
It's a lot. It changes. Everything changes.
Yeah.
Damn near overnight. You've been grinding for like 10, 15 years, and then you get into this other shit for 3 years, and it's a whole nother fucking life and vehicle. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I show up for Tiffany. They put me to the side like, hey, man, can you tape tonight? Nigga, I had on a bullshit outfit. I had to go buy my shirt across the street. I had to borrow some money from Tiffany to go buy the shirt.
What?
I just paid my rent. So I didn't have no fucking money. This me early married, 2 kids. So everything was going to the family. Man, I bought that bullshit ass purple shirt. I laugh at it every time I see it.
What is it with you in purple too? That's another thing.
That's a weird
because for the special,
that's weird. I never put it together like that, bro.
What was the special down in
Live in Crenshaw?
Live in Crenshaw. You had on purple,
and so but it was a random shirt I got buttoned up. I put it on, invited my family last minute. They got tickets for them. One of the greatest TV sets I've ever had was that Martin Lawrence First Amendment set. Every bit got a standing ovation. Cheryl Underwood brought me back on stage because she was hosting. She said, Chicago, this is your next Bernie Mac.
That's a tall order. I would, that's
But it ain't the first time I heard it, Royale. Over time, I kept hearing it. Shit came from Jimmy.
Well, we both know there's only one Bernie Mac. But there's also only one Lil Rel.
No, but that's why I got the Bernie Mac award. I got it from his wife. They gave me that award.
First of all, also
years later.
Let me say this too. I never liked Lil Rel. I asked you about this before. I hate the Lil and Rel. You're right. Rel, Howery.
Yeah. I mean, now I'm more leaning towards that just because I'm in a different space in my career and what I want to do. But the reason why I kept it for so long, because some motherfucker told me it would never be in lights.
Told you Lil Rel would never be in lights.
Never be in lights.
Oh my God, man! The shit
I
that
don't like no
tells
motherfucker
us.
saying shit like that. Who the fuck you talking to?
Yeah.
Because Lil Rel was the Lil Rel gave me confidence. That's the basketball story. When I went to the hood school and niggas was calling me a nerd freshman year, and then I went to basketball tryouts and took my glasses off and balled the motherfuckers all out. They all didn't know I could hoop.
Can you hoop?
Oh, nigga, at the time, I'm old now, nigga. That ain't my dream no more.
No, but I mean, at the time,
nigga, I was a fucking beast.
Okay.
Nobody knew I was working on my game all summer just because. It wasn't even like I was looking for my cousin was on the varsity. Darrell. That is where Lil Rel came from. Darrell Howery. You know what I mean? Darrell was on the varsity, starting point guard. I'm balling these niggas out.
Wait.
Yeah.
Rel Howery comes from your cousin's name?
Yeah, it's a nickname. So, I'm from Chicago. But I'm telling you, here we go. So I'm killing these motherfuckers at the tryouts, balling out. Everybody like, who the fuck is that? They was like, that's real little cousin. Lewis Johnson, shout out to Lou, who was the captain of the varsity team. He's like, oh shit, what up, Lil Rel? I was like, no, my name Milton. He's like, no, nigga, it's Lil Rel. I was like, all right. And for my freshman year,
I thought what's your middle name?
Terrence. It has nothing to do with
my God. So your name, Milton Terrence Howery, is your government.
Yeah.
And you're Lil Rel because your cousin who balled
Played varsity.
Played varsity,
and
and his name is Darrell.
And the
so
most popular nigga at school, who was the captain of the varsity team, said your name is Lil Rel now.
only in Chicago.
Yeah, nigga. That's Chicago. That's Chicago in a nutshell.
Chicago different, bro. Chicago the only city that...
I didn't even argue. I told the nigga my name was Milton. He was like, whatever, Lil Rel. And it became like, to this day, sometimes I want to write a movie about it because my life changed from that point. Lewis Johnson called me Lil Rel. From like how popular I could have left high school after my freshman year. It was so fucking fun. After all them niggas graduated, I didn't want to go to school no more. Because I was, at that point, I made the team, the Frost-Off team. But the seniors all like me. Hey, they go Lil Rel. Lil Rel sit with us. So now I'm sitting with the varsity players and seniors. I'm not even sitting with my friends I made, the other little nerd niggas. I'm sitting with these dudes. And it was just, high school was my freshman year of high school, 1994-95, was one of my favorite times. And I've done some amazing shit, but damn, that was a fun year. I got a chance to see Kevin Garnett and Rodney Fields in person and shit because outside of me playing on the team, I got cool with the coaches. So I did the books for the varsity game. So I would do take the, points down and fouls and all that shit.
Yeah.
So they let me travel with them. So I was traveling with this, because at that time, my team was like one of the top teams in the nation, actually. And so it was one of the greatest times. As a basketball fan, I saw some of the greatest basketball in person. I tell Kevin Garnett last time I saw, I said, nigga, do you remember talking to me? This little short nigga with the glasses? He's like, man, I talked to a lot of little niggas. I was like, yeah, but
Talked to a lot of
that conversation, but I never forgot. I got a chance after the game.
You have a picture from the...
It wasn't phones, those.
Yeah.
Like
it's like you had to be carrying a camera.
That was a memory.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It wasn't a photo. It was a memory.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, this was like it was such, like Lil Rel in high school, my freshman year, and then my senior year when I did the play, and that's when Lil Rel, the actor comedian.
What was the play?
It was a school play week. I forgot what it was called, and the teacher let me write all my own bits in the play.
Yeah.
So my first big laugh was something I wrote in front of this ghetto ass fucking student body, and they were dying. These niggas used to heckle anybody. You come do I Have a Dream Speech, man, get your goof ass off. And so for me to get
nigga heckling I Have a Dream speech.
Nigga, they heckle you like you could be somebody. Man, you a bitch. it's what it was. So for me to get that big laugh from that group.
Yeah. Put the battery in your back.
And I'll never forget the curtain closing and you hear them having conversations. Like, man, that was funny as hell. Like, oh shit. And then as the play went on, they're laughing at more of my stuff. And I'm on fire now. But I'm like, yo, this is some shit I wrote. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Cause that was, I tell this story all the time, but that play. I remember after we were done with the last group, they gave me a period off, and I sat in the auditorium that day and talked to God in the dark by myself, and was like, God, this is what I want to do. I was very specific. I
said, you should write down talking to God in the dark.
I wasn't even writing down.
No, I'm just saying that like that's a bar. Talking to God in the dark.
I was talking to God. It was dark in the auditorium. I sat in the back and said, God, I want to be a comedian, actor, writer.
Comedian, actor, writer. Okay.
I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I know I don't know nobody. This is specifically what it says. I know I don't know nobody, but whatever this feeling is, even just walking around school, people was like, "Oh, there you go. That's the star." Like, oh shit! Whatever this shit is,
you enjoy you.
Oh,
that's what you want. Yeah, that's what you want. I'm gonna go back to that bit, right? Because we got pulled away from it. But the thing that I appreciate about that bit is we see you do it on stage, but I see your mom. I see the fried rice, nigga. Anniversary fried rice is, man. You talk about being able to honor somebody, right, and memorialize them in your art. Like, it's so much bigger than a joke to me.
It is, man. But then I went through a thing. I remember one night I was doing it, and everybody was laughing, and then I damn it started crying because I realized how much I missed her. Because I would jump into character so fucking deep.
Yeah.
and just start going on these riffs of whatever the fuck she would say. And at one point, I remember I almost could even hear the audience laughing because I was like, oh shit, I miss my fucking mama. I don't know if I could. So it became almost until recently where like Kevin Tate was opening for me a couple years ago, was telling me to bring stuff back. He's like, dude, you should do your bet. Like, why you always this new shit, nigga? Just, you've done shit you ain't did in years. Nigga, bring some of that shit back. I'm like, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
And I did that weekend we was working, and I'm like, damn. But it was hard. I missed her so much, I stopped doing her in general. I couldn't do it no more. It was weird, too, because I was like, it helped me cope with her death. And then it weirdly became something, I'm like, oh, I can't deal with this shit.
It's interesting. Again, I was talking about points of reference for us, right? And, you know, well, remember we did the weekend at Parlor Live, me, you, and Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
We was flying up there.
Yeah.
You was going through it.
Man, dude.
You was going through it at the time.
And you know what's funny, Royale? I can't even remember. I can't even remember what that felt like because I graduated from that particular pain. But at that time, that lasted a very long time. That became part of so many terrible decisions I made. And I was in so much fucking pain. That's when you start learning about that tears of a clown shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, comedy saved me because I don't know if I would have been able to handle life without going to do stand-up. I was fucked the fuck up.
Yeah, that's...
Like, I was so... Because I didn't know what to do with all the different things I felt. I felt, regret. I felt, I felt bad. I remember her last phone call to me. I was doing a show with Bill Bellamy in New Jersey. And at that time, I was just in this place where, like, I didn't want to deal with her being sick. And so I wouldn't go to the hospital as much and all this other shit. But, man, when I tell you, though, classic bits, been from some painful shit. Stuff I've never repeated. Like, I've never did the bit. So when she passed, I had to go casket shopping because I was the oldest with my aunts and my uncle. And the funniest shit happened. And I only talked about that shit one time on stage that night. I'm like, jokes and notes. I was like, Mary's the show tonight. I got to come perform.
Yeah.
I just went casket shopping. I need to vent. And my family showed up at that show that day. And I remember the crowd didn't know what to do because it was just, I was taking them on this ride. It was so sad because it's like, dang. But then when I told her what the funeral director said to my Aunt Joyce was the craziest shit. My Aunt Joyce was like kind of joking around. First of all, there's some grim ass people. So like I went through and that's funny about me in comedy, I can easily, if that happened to me earlier that day and I was going up that night, I'm going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where this shit finna take me. Mm-hmm. I just trust the comedy gods and the way I love this shit. It's going to massage this way.
Yeah, you're going to find it.
Into a bit.
Yeah.
And, man, that lady told my Aunt Joyce was looking at caskets, and Aunt Joyce was like, ooh, I like this one. I'm about to get this one for me. And my Aunt Joyce is a big lady. And the lady was like, no, we have to order yours custom. What? And the lady just walked away. My Aunt Joyce was like, what the f-? It was so...
Wait, first of all, that's your Aunt Joyce was funeral shopping with you for your mom's casket and said, ooh, I like this one. I'm going to get this one for me.
I got to get this one for me. It was so, and that's because Aunt Joyce was like, me and Matt talk about this all the time. It wasn't until I sat next to her at church maybe years later, like me deep into comedy success. My Aunt Joyce is fucking hysterical. Mm-hmm. Like, I knew Aunt Joyce was funny because she was funny to us as kids, but I didn't realize that's why everybody sat over there at church because she was over there cutting up every fucking Sunday, like just bit at the bit. Yeah. She had full-blown bits, nigga, that was like, nigga, how the fuck I ain't noticed this? Is this where I come from? My timing? Because, nigga, you are fucking amazing. And we was talking about this maybe like a couple weeks ago. Me and Matt was like, damn, Joyce, I hate we didn't really, as adults, truly experience even more how hysterical she was.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was so fucking fun. And my mama used to be cracking up and always trying to impress. I didn't understand what that meant when I was younger. Like, why everybody always go to Aunt Joyce? Did you see? Because they was just setting her up so she could fucking
so you can do what she does. Yeah.
And so I didn't realize that's what that was. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it was all like I've always found a way to this pain thing that could be painful for most people. I mean, even when I got to stuff about divorce at that point, even when we did Relevant and the bit closing with Judah, that's a true story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about, interestingly enough, when we did Parlor. Like, you was also dealing with the divorce stuff.
Oh, nigga, yeah.
So those two things together, like, had you in a chokehold.
You know what's funny? So at that time, so it wasn't my mom's death, it was my brother's death.
Ah.
It was Mark's death. So Mark's death was a part of the divorce too. It was all that shit was all at the same fucking time, nigga. And so, and then like, I try to explain to people this because most people don't remember like when they met me, shit, nigga, I was really like, I was actually the size I am now, probably a little smaller for a long ass time.
Yeah, listen, so you ballooned up.
Man, I remember Corey Holcomb mean ass was like, I never forget this shit. And this is when I started thinking about it. We was at the improv with like, hey man, you done got fat, nigga. Fat ass nigga.
As only Corey would say.
Ain't nobody gonna say shit. This nigga's fat.
Ain't nobody gonna say shit.
But you know what's funny? Nobody does when you get bigger, which is weird to me. It's almost like everybody's enjoying going on that same route.
But Corey, of all people, he's fat.
But he started that way. He saw me fucking. People don't realize, like, no, nigga, I did become a chubby nigga. I wasn't always that.
No, this. Trust me, I got photos of you, fat face rail. I used to call it fat face rail.
Yeah, I was, and that's why I used to wear like the baggiest shit and the biggest teeth. Like if you watch all the stuff I taped in at that time was so big.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want nobody to see how skinny I was.
Oh wow. Wow.
And so, it's crazy. It's like, so when people like, man, I was like, nigga, do y'all understand that was a weird time for me? Like I didn't, and like I had to like trick myself to think I still looked the same. And I didn't. It's till I started seeing, really was when I saw, it was Carmichael's show at first, like, and then you start seeing people write jokes about it.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
when Uncle Drew happened, and them niggas had them fat jokes about me, like when Nene Leakes was like, put that Teletubby. Bitch, who gave you that joke? About me. And like I remember like it happened and I watched it, I had to deal with the reality of it. Even when I watch that movie, I get sad because I'm like, I finally do the basketball movie. I always want to do like Michael J. Fox did Teen Wolf.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Which is one of my favorite movies. And I'm like, I'm going to do a basketball movie. I'm going to take the real shot, which I did. I did take the real shot. It made the real shot. That is what I did.
Nice.
That was the first fucking take.
Yeah.
After that, I was like 1 for 36.
But you made the one that counts.
But that was the first take, is the shot I made. It was the first motherfucking take. That's why the celebration looked so real.
Yeah.
I was happy as fuck. That was a real step back.
Bang.
Because I didn't want that Teen Wolf shit. You know, Michael J. Fox was jumping on the free throw line and shit.
Yeah.
And then they do that shot where he just throw it up there and then they just go directly.
Cut to.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Show my shit go in. That was like actually what I asked when I negotiated to do the movie.
That was a deal point for you?
I'm like, nigga, I want to make the real shot.
Oh, God.
Fuck that.
Okay.
So anyway, I remember, but I watched it. I remember like, when I watch it now and I'm watching me have to give myself a little more push to run down the court, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, chunky.
Oh, this is
chunky rail. I'm carrying way more than
shit.
But you're carrying more because you're carrying more.
I'm carrying more. I was so
you're carrying more because you're carrying more.
I just happened to be working a lot and I was fucking depressed. I was depressed, but it's weird. It's just still the performing though still helped. You know, that's when I was still on the road and eating bullshit and then doing the movies. I was doing a lot. And then I was back single again. And so now I'm in the streets all the time. I ain't really
Drinking.
All I did was drink, work, and party.
Listen, and drinking changes you.
100%.
You know, I've heard stories about you drinking, and I was like, Rel?
Yeah, I mean, it was
Getting in fights?
it was fights. Well, it's because, I had to, therapy broke this down for me too. I was in so much pain. I remember explaining this to somebody, like, when you're in so much pain, you want to feel pain back. You keep thinking that's gonna help if somebody hits you, or that's how much pain you feel. Like, I was doing that type of shit. I was starting fights at clubs with, like, Vice Lords, nigga. Why doing? The niggas was fans. Like, what up, Lil Rel? What you say, bitch ass nigga? Nigga, I said, what up? I'm a fan. Fuck you, fam. Like, Rel, come on, nigga. You know we a gang, nigga. We don't want to fuck you up. It's only so many bitch ass niggas you gonna say in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Well, show me, motherfucker. I got to steal on this nigga. I do a bit about it about my last special. It was funny. I think I could hear somebody in the audience say, man, I made it in the special. I'm like, is that the nigga that hit me with the car? Motherfucker. He don't know I can hear it. When I used to edit, I'm like, and I kept it in there. I'm like, yo, this nigga was in the audience. They hit me with the car that night that I got to a fight at the club. But therapy really broke that down for me. And I was like, oh, shit, I was trying to replace the pain.
It is really, I have to say this, it's really powerful to hear out loud. And one, not just that you're in therapy and giving that to yourself. I think it's necessary. I think more black men should embrace that. But also, I show up to church, you're at church, right? Mm-hmm. If you didn't watch the broadcast or the recording of last week's service, you should. It's really, really good.
I gotta watch
Erica, actually.
Erica preached.
So it's really powerful. She's, it's interesting. Warren was there, but Erica preached. So shout out to Erica Campbell, who's the first lady at
I'm watching that.
Cali Worship.
I'm mad I didn't watch it. Well, you didn't watch it yet.
Go back and watch it. She's really, really, she has a gift. There's a couple of things I wanted to get to. So now I'm gonna have to kind of, I'm not gonna speed through a couple of things. Who was the comic that when you were in Chicago and making this transition into, I think this is the thing that I can do? Who was the star comic that you was paying attention to that put the battery in your back, so to speak? That you go, I gotta do this.
It was D-Ray.
But D-Ray was a local comic. I'm talking about who was the star that you watched. Unless you're saying...
Well, it's two things with that. I'm glad you said that. So you had Eddie Murphy, who, we all...
Yeah.
But somebody that's kind of like, you're fanning out still. But as far as reality of what you can be was D-Ray. Because, we started seeing him go to L.A. And, one year he flew all of us out there.
What?
For his birthday, yeah. He flew. Man, D-Ray's a giving motherfucker, man.
See, look, I'm obviously aware of D-Ray, but I don't know his origin story. And that's, again, a huge reason why I'm doing this podcast is because I need to sit down and hear these stories or get these stories so they become shared stories.
Yeah, D-Ray.
I didn't look. I had said talking about being a dope dealer in St. Louis. Like, I'm like sitting looking at him like, what? Seriously. So again, there's a lot of these origin stories that need to have some runway and get out there. I didn't know D-Ray was like that in Chicago.
It was D-Ray and Corey Holcomb. Like, they were like the first.
Was Corey mean back then? Was Corey an asshole? I mean, I fuck with everybody. You know what I mean? I'm not going to ignore the fact that Corey has become a villain.
He always been an asshole, but like, honestly, was a good dude, man. He was the first motherfucker, Corey Holcomb, first person to stamp me and said, this nigga gonna be straight. I wasn't even 21 yet. I had went up at Damon's spot the week before.
Damon Williams.
Mm-hmm. Right, shout out Damon Williams. Bombed. Because I did one of his bits that I didn't know. You know how you watch Comic View so much, you didn't know, when you first start out, you don't know this. You think you came up with some shit like, nah, nigga.
It happens.
Me watching this
There's
shit
a difference
together.
between stealing and some shit slipping into your
Into
ethos
your-
that,
yeah.
oh, okay.
And so I did this all good joke that was definitely Damon's joke.
Yeah.
And I bummed DJ Dollar Bill play someone please call 911 to get me off stage.
Just mean.
Oh my God, it was so big. And it was and I looked like a baby on stage. I didn't have no facial hair. I was
Yeah.
like 120. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I looked like a little kid. And I remember I was cussing. This lady's like, who this little boy up here saying all these dirty words?
Wow.
I said, bitch, I'm a grown.
Yeah. Bitch, I'm a grown man standing on, yo, let you have it.
Yeah. And so I remember, and it's so funny because I'm going to speed this up, but like, I bummed. It's raining outside. I'm waiting on my homeboy to pick me up because we're going to go to our first strip club that's 18 up for the first time.
Mhm.
All this happening.
Go see some titties.
And I'm waiting on this nigga to pull up and it's raining outside. And I could tell Damon had roasted the fuck out of me. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why I met Michi for the first time. Michi Hall, who
Yep.
ended up becoming my roommate, one of my closest friends. He's like, yeah, man, you got to get better. Gotta do your own shit.
So
man.
you got some work to do.
You gotta
And do your own shit.
And David, told into me. And I didn't think the nigga liked me, right? So I'm standing outside the rain, and he rolled the window down like, hey, man, you want to wait in the car till your friend come? I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I didn't want to look at this thing. Because he hurt my feelings. He's like, dude, get in the car. I'm like, so I got my little arms folded. I sit in the passenger side of the car till my friend pull up. And I could tell he was forced to say this, but he was like, you know, just keep it on, man. You know, just got to keep writing and, you know, keep on, you know, just keep trying.
Stay at it. Yeah.
So you don't mean that shit. I remember just looking out the window. I didn't want to look at this thing. And my friend pull up and I get out the car. Thank you, Damon.
Yeah.
And I remember I recorded it. So my brother Matt, I remember playing it for him dying. Like
The set?
yes.
So you have the set?
I used to. It was on cassette tapes at
Jesus.
the time. You know, I don't know what those tapes is.
Yeah.
And he was like, you going back next week? Because then I was hooked. Even though I bombed, it was like, fuck that shit. Because that was the first black room I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing all the white rooms up north.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably was stealing these niggas' jokes, and I was doing it for the white people, so I didn't know.
Well, you was your little joke thief to start?
I don't think I knew I was doing. I was watching Comic View so much
Yeah.
that I thought some of that shit was my shit. I came up with it.
Yeah.
So, which is great about when you go to the black room, the white room, nobody would know
Yeah.
because there wasn't enough niggas there. It was just all white people, and then just me sometimes. And then if you had a black comic, it's more of those, come on, guys, that guy.
Yeah.
And so I went back the next week with a whole brand new set. I wrote that week, you know, talked about glasses being in there. Like, I did a whole new, I just changed everything. I got rid of whatever I thought was mine. Like, maybe none of this shit is. So let me think about this shit again. So that whole week, that's all I fucking did.
Writing it.
And I went up there, had a good-ass 5 minutes. Marlon Mitchell was hosting.
Marlon Mitchell. Wow.
Damon wasn't hosting that week. And it's a lot with that night, too, because Corey went up the headline. And Corey being mean, he was nice to me to be mean to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, hey, Shorty gonna be funny, man. What's your name? Lil Rel. Because also, this is even funnier, Royale. That first week,
Your impression, of course.
I went up as Milton Howery the week before that. So just bombing, I'm like, nigga,
You don't want nothing to do with.
I got to go back to my confident persona.
Yeah,
nigga. We
yeah,
got to
yeah,
bring
yeah.
Lil Rel back.
You got to put the star on stage.
Lil Rel got to come back, baby.
Yeah.
And,
Wait, is Milton also your dad's name?
Yep.
Or you're a junior?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, I came back next week. I signed that bitch up as Lil Rel because I was also scared too. They like, man, they see Milton. They like, hell no, don't put that nigga up again. And so I put Lil Rel. And yeah, Corey like, hey, Shorty gonna be, man, you gonna be funny, man. You got it. Just keep on going. The rest of these niggas ain't shit. This nigga like, what, you like 19? You niggas is in your 40s up here bombing. I'm like, damn. But, you know,
Yeah.
like everybody else, they get a Corey compliment.
Yeah.
You take it in. You don't give a fuck what he said about
Exactly.
everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, hey, thanks, man. And then even that night, my friend was like, hey, that's D-Ray. It's like, yeah, he got the room on Sunday, man, but you got to, like, ask him. He give you a card. You got to call this number. It was a whole process to do.
What?
Yeah, so I went to D-Ray, and I bet D-Ray had, like, 2 or 3 girls with him. And I'm like, this like little me with my little punk-ass voice. Like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Hey, D-Ray, how you doing? I'm Lil Rel. He's like, and nigga, you know D-Ray, he's an asshole too. I'm like, yeah, they said, you got a room on Sundays, and I would like to go up. It's like, okay, nigga, you funny? But yeah, tonight I had a great set. You can ask Corey. Nigga, I ain't asking that nigga that shit.
Dang.
Here's a card, nigga. Call this number.
Like that?
And I get you a spot. So he used to do, you could tell D-Ray was taking whatever he learned from L.A.
And bringing it to Chicago.
and bring it to Chicago. So
Yeah.
at that time, he used to do what Chocolate Sundays do, where they had that early.
First impressions or
Well,
putting-
Comedy Store used to do it too.
Yeah, first impressions, put comics up early, give them a
on
couple
the
of
first
minutes.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he did that, and I ended up doing the spot, and I did it that Sunday, and I was okay, but I got through it. I didn't get booed or nothing. I'm
Yeah.
like, cool. And D-Ray's like, all right, you cool. I was like, oh, so can I do the second show? Like, nigga, you ain't ready for the second show. Because the second show was when the motherfuckers.
Yeah, it was real. Yeah.
And so I had to do that Dan a New Face shit for a while, but I got better and better. But I was watching D-Ray every week freestyle and change. He never did the same set. And it was just fucking crazy. And watch him be a self-promoter.
Yeah.
People don't give D-Ray enough props, but the system he created in promoting was the system for all promoters in Chicago, not just comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our biggest promoters, party promoters in Chicago that became the bigger party promoters, took their style of promoting
From D-Ray. Wow.
D-Ray was, and he was can get self-promoting, putting himself on, giving out flyers for his show, but like his resume on there with him on the other side. The show would be there, but the other side just be D-Ray Davis. The nigga was just
I remember when
brilliant.
D-Ray, when I first saw D-Ray, he was doing this bit about his mom being on drugs. And I think that, clearly I'm in the class ahead of you guys, but I've always just, again, been fascinated. And I would sit and watch comics and immediately, like, just start punching up their sets, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Yeah, that's what you do. Man.
yeah, it is what I do. But he got away from Hollywood. To me, had him shift away from some of the stuff that he was doing. But again, that authenticity is the thing that I always gravitate towards. That again, it's why being on the bus, being roasted by kids, and relevant.
Well, you say something that's very poignant, and comics have to be careful. That is, when you come out here and you want to book the TV shows and you want to do this thing, so you start adjusting your set and this thing to fit whatever you think they're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's from the notes you get from these executives and all the agents and and I'll never forget, that happened to me one time.
Mm-hmm.
It was one time I changed that set. Is when I got the NBC Stand Up for Diversity. I was a finalist, so I got I made it all the way to LA. Great group: me, Eric Andre, Michelle Buteau, Naeem Lynn, Corey Fernandez. That was our fucking group.
Yep.
Which is so fucking crazy to see where everybody is now. But I met them then. It was just fucking. We got along really great because we all had to stay at the Universal Hotel, and we became friends. From that point on. And I kept getting all these notes, man. I didn't know how to take the notes.
Yeah.
I took the notes too serious. I went up there changing my set. Now, this is the crazy thing about me changing that set. At this time, I'm still Chicago as nigga Chicago Rel, Mohawk with designs on the side of my. This is a big thing to me, so I'm thinking nigga shit. I got a shirt made that say Lil Rel with a version of a chain on it. The chain says Lil Rel and it look like a 50 Cent chain, but it's a shirt with the it's glitter.
Yeah.
It's glitter everywhere. And I got I'm just,
You're doing the most. You're doing Chicago.
But then the set I'm doing don't even match the way I look. It looked like I'm about to do some hood shit. And I changed my fucking set.
Yeah.
To adjust to whatever I think it is. I had one of the worst sets. And I remember Kevin sitting there because Kevin came to support Naeem Lynn. I'm like, damn, I'm bumming in front of Kevin.
That's hard when you bombing from somebody.
I was heartbroken. And Knowledge was there, and Knowledge was like, dang, B, you switched everything. I was like, I know, it's in my head, man. I changed everything. Because all those executives was there. It was like executives. That's when, see, when you did that Standard for Diversity, the early ones,
Yeah.
nigga, that shit was industry. The
No, you
motherfuckers was
could-
getting deals.
You can come off stage literally into a deal, into a TV show if
that's
everything lined
That's
up.
what motherfuckers got. So this is how God works, though. Bum at the showcase. I'm like, nah, let me take this bullshit ass shirt off. I gotta hit a stage. Kim Whitley was like, yo, you can come do my room.
Ha.
What I don't know. I don't remember what it was.
It was probably the ha.
And because she hosted it with what's his
With
name?
Buddy Lewis.
With Buddy Lewis.
Yeah.
So we went there. I went crazy on stage.
Yep.
Paige Hurwitz. I love me some Paige.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I was still working with Last Comic Standing.
Yep.
She was at the showcase. I'm outside. She walks out there like, dude, you're fucking brilliant. Why didn't you do that set?
For the showcase.
I was like, man, they told me I should change it, and it was kind of too black. Because this is what they said to me. And I made it all the way to the thing, and then they gave me these weird-ass notes that got me there. You know, and she was like, Rel, you know, so I'm still going to give you Last Comic Standing. So everybody else was trying to figure out, everybody was at the showcase like, yo, how did Rel get
Yeah.
the invite to Last Comic Standing? We saw the set. I was like, nigga, she happened to be at Kim Whitley's.
Wow.
Spot. She was cool. Paige was cool with Kim.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I was going to leave L.A. depressed damn near like, damn, I missed a shot. Man.
You just don't know.
And that Last Comic Standing shit was a game changer too. Even though I didn't win anything, it was a game changer for me.
Yeah, you just don't know how the Lego pieces are going to line up to be. Listen, it always works out in the end. The problem is you just don't know how.
Yourself.
No, you got to die doing a thing that.
Thank God for that moment though, Royale, because if it didn't happen that early, I don't know if I would have tried to shift later.
Yeah.
That moment told me, fuck
Yeah,
it.
you learned a lesson in that moment.
This is it.
Yeah. You got to ride and die on what
I am.
Yeah. All right, so there's one story I got to have you tell, and then I'm going to ask you about your comedy Rushmore. But please tell a story, if you don't mind, about getting robbed in Chicago and chasing the person down the hallway. Like, I still can't process that.
You mean from Relevant, the true story, the Chinese.
No, this was you getting paid after a gig. And
oh, damn, bro. Shit. New Year's Eve.
yes, the New Year's Eve getting paid in cash
that
situation.
Was crazy. Yeah, D-Ray gave me way too much cash, nigga. It had to be like, I think it was like 15, 20, something.
15, 20 bands?
Yeah, nigga, in cash.
In Chicago?
Yes. I said, nigga, what the fuck you doing? Why you don't give me a check? I remember telling her, like, I want just give me a check. But most niggas do want cash. D-Ray gave me all that cash, and I ain't think shit of it, but it was that room. So the room they put me in was a setup room.
The hotel room?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the name of the hotel?
They changed it, so I can't remember which one the original shit was, but it's changed, and even since then, that, you know, because they had to get rid of it. So the reason why I call it a setup room is because the door don't close all the way, and they knew that shit. A motherfucker had to know that worked there.
Mm-hmm.
They know, like, say you come in drunk, you hoping the door closed. You know, most hotel doors close.
Yeah.
But this one, you know, it's still kind of, you have to pull it a little more to close it. And, man, I was out, got lit, just laying in the bed. Cash is, literally all the cash is on the nightstand. I wake up, I'm thinking I'm dreaming kind of. I'm naked. Because I, you know, some shibidi dope.
Dick out.
Yeah. And so I look up, it's a nigga just counting that shit. And I'm like, what? You know, I'm yelling to the nigga. He's just getting nervous. He grabbed the shit. He started running. But I think he don't expect me to chase him. So I run out the road chasing this nigga full fucking speed, butt ass naked, dick out. He's dropping the money as he's running like he's scared as fuck. Like, I'm like, nigga, this is your first job? Which was kind of crazy for me to try to fight this nigga. I don't know if this nigga got a gun. I ain't give a fuck. I was like, fuck it, this nigga about to fight to the death. And I chase this nigga down the hallway. He literally drops because it's a long ass hallway to the exit door because he knew where he was coming out at. He dropped all the money. I was able to go down the hallway collecting the money down this long hallway. It was still everything. And I remember being like, because I was still kind of like drunk in a way. It wasn't until I went to pick my kids up, after I didn't talk to them and the police and all this other shit. I went to pick my babies up to take them to, I forgot what we was taking them to, something. And I had to pull over to the side of the road because in that moment, my body was like, nigga, you could have got killed. You was so vulnerable, nigga.
You are butt-ass naked in a hotel hallway chasing after somebody.
Even before that, what if he had a gun? And that was one of those moments was like, I had to start having real conversations with myself. Like, nigga, what's up, man? Are you trying to die or something?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because Chicago is filled with so much trauma. And as I listen to your stories, what I hear is, again, was your mom and dad together when you was growing up?
Yep, the whole time.
The whole time, right? So you grew up in the projects in Chicago, mom and dad.
Not projects, no.
Okay, so where did you grow up in?
Grew up on the west side of Chicago.
West side of Chicago?
Neighborhood, yep.
Decent neighborhood?
It's not that it was decent.
Was your family middle class or lower? I grew up on food stamps.
No, I know, but this is so funny. I don't know if I understood what middle class was until I understood what middle class was. I think because of the love and we didn't starve.
Here's the thing.
I used to think that was middle class until I saw a check stub of one of my parents. I'm like, nigga, how did y'all feed us, nigga?
That's what I'm saying, right? It's like.
But this thing about it, my parents in our neighborhood were the parents. My dad fixed everybody because we had one of the only dads on the block.
Oh, so you grew up in like your mom and dad in love? Like you watched them in love
love. We grew up in love. They had great partnership. Oh. We were very creative. We went to church. Like I have a very beautiful, unique family. Yet we didn't have much financially.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm asking about.
That's what I'm saying. So
because
that's not my
here's the thing.
Story. My story, if you watch, even when you watch my stand up though, for real, like even when Can I Have I Won't, is not from us being poor.
Yeah.
It's like
frustration.
My anniversary Friday, I can't have shit to myself. It's her frustration as a mother. Like, I got to get these niggas everything all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Can I just have this shit for one goddamn second?
Yeah.
Your daddy bought me this shit, which I want a real gift, but he got me some shrimp fried rice for the anniversary.
Yeah. Wait, what did she say? She says, can I have, I want.
Just repeat what we said.
Yeah.
So all she did was, and this is the setup of the bit is like, you ever irritate your mama so much that she irritates you back.
Yeah. So she throw back at y'all.
What the fuck we saying?
Yeah. It's a brilliant bit. It's one of my, I have to tell you, I love that bit.
I mean, the amount of times that she said, I can't have shit to myself while smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why I'm selfish with my food in a way too, right? It's like, the first thing I ever bought was some money that I had. Like I used to work at a snowball stand for this Jamaican who was like, having me work for hours and maybe give me $5 to $10 every day.
Jesus.
And I know we was making way more.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of you.
I'm selling hella snowballs, nigga.
Yeah.
But I bought shrimp fried rice. I would buy that shit every day for this place called Rooks. That was an accomplishment. Shrimp fried rice mean I made it. And I ain't share with nobody in that goddamn house, including my mama. Can I get some? You remember that time that Can I Have I Won't shit?
Wow.
Mama? You remember?
Wow.
You remember that shit? Because you didn't give us none.
Man, it's all right. Listen, now I got a round third because I want to keep these episodes to like around an hour, but obviously as I do them more, I'll have you back. I know this more that I want to talk about, but again, now we gotta, because the specials, the movie, us going on the road together, doing some dates and some stuff, what you want to accomplish independently.
Look, man, we got to do a part 2.
No, we listen. That's what I'm saying. Is like what I'll do is like
Or split this shit up.
no. What we'll do is this. Like I'm banking the first 12 as season 1, and then right at the top of season 2, we'll come back and have a follow-up conversation. Who was the first big comic that you opened up for that you was like, holy shit, this is a big deal for me?
Ooh, that's a great question. Damn. That's a tough question, dude.
Like outside of Chicago comics.
I know, but that's a tough question because D. Ray Riddles was bringing in national headliners every Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
which honestly was a challenge. If you was a great comic, you would know in Chicago because you had to go after niggas. We were
A lineup of cats.
nigga that wanted,
George Wilburn.
that was mad that he booked you. He brought an outside person to headline and then give one of us the money.
Yeah.
So niggas wanted to crush motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yeah, wanted to prove a point.
So it was a couple people. So, all right. Okay, I have to do this. So a couple of my favorite.
But I'm talking about, here's the thing. No.
I know, but you got to understand what, to me, that was. And
I'm talking about outside of Chicago that you went
know,
out
that-
on
I'm
the
not talking
road
about- I'm
with
not-
that
I know,
actually
but-
paid you to.
I know, but think about this before we get it. I'm not going to say Chicago headline.
Yeah.
I'm saying who I opened for in Chicago that was a big deal to me because once again, it's an outside person.
Yeah.
JB Smooth.
Mm.
When I saw that nigga the first time, I'm like, this nigga is the funniest person I've ever fucking seen.
Call him the milkman.
When he came back, Chicago absolutely adored JB Smooth, comics and the city. So I remember when D-Ray first brought JB to his Sunday show, it was Tony Robbins and JB on one show.
Jesus
I couldn't
Christ.
breathe after that shit.
Wait. You talking about two milkmen on the same show. Two guys that
Two
milk the shit out of every literal
Them
bit.
Two niggas was on the same show. And
Who opened, who was?
JB closed, Tony opened. It was the funniest stand-up comedy show to this day I've ever watched. It felt like maybe I should quit. These niggas are the funniest people I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
you'll never do that like reach this level of.
But they wasn't stars yet,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they
yeah.
couldn't.
They were journeyman working
They
comics.
was just good. They was just great motherfuckers to watch.
Yeah.
So you watch this shit. So then D-Ray like, okay, you niggas come back again. I gotta have y'all headline, y'all own shit. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
And so JB came back, line around the corner. I opened for JB. That's why so I recorded that set. I ended up sending JB those sets because I kept I was recording my set, but I kept the shit on because me and my roommates would watch that shit like it's gang film watching JB Smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like that set, I don't give a fuck what he says. I should have bootlegged it. Nigga, it's one of the
You could have put it out.
funniest two shows I've ever seen a person do in my fucking life.
Of all the stand-up that you've seen.
Of all the stand-up I've ever seen, that nigga, because I love JB Smooth, outside of Eddie Murphy, is probably my favorite comedian of all time.
God dang.
Nobody to this day makes me laugh harder than this nigga. I feel like a groupie, even though he's one of my good friends.
Hey.
When I'm around this nigga, Danella always talk about, she like, nigga, you just be cracking.
Turn into, yeah.
The fuck? I like, because he's the funniest nigga.
No, he's naturally funny.
Nigga, it was shit he was doing that night. And I understand, I watched that tape for damn near 10 years straight. We would just meet in the living room. Me, Michi, and Wildcat, everybody would meet in our little living room. Our apartment.
And watch JB Smooth.
And put that tape in. We'll watch that or the Richard Pryor show.
Jesus Christ.
And so we would put that and die laughing every time. Cause the shit he was doing was the attention, the shit was crazy.
Yeah.
So the style of me doing comedy, and I had to like check myself at one point because I was watching this nigga.
Because you're watching him so much, you started becoming
delivering that shit.
Yeah.
Like, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. I damn it sound like this nigga.
Yeah.
God damn. I was saying God damn so much. And, all that shit. And so I had to check myself, like, okay, nigga, Jesus Christ. It's okay to get the style of what he's doing.
Yeah, but don't become.
Shooby dobo. But then that's how I became the Can I Have I Want, I learned how to be in character and stay in it and let the character and the moment and whatever that stage is.
Yes, yeah.
Take that shit by hand.
Listen, when I see you on stage, become the pastor with the Wi-Fi and all of the pastor stuff and the church stuff and looking off camera and see, like, it's the world that you paint because you're able to go into becoming, it ain't even character. You become the person.
It's from JB motherfucking Smooth. And nigga, I mean, that for some reason, because he did 2 shows, it was like 2 different sets. Okay? And I had to send him the tape because I felt bad for keeping it for years. For years, we didn't tell this nigga we had it.
Dang!
Because it was his set. It's like, man, we don't want this nigga. No, we recorded. We even
Yeah.
I just never stopped recording that day. That
Right.
night. I just kept it. I'm like, oh shit, I got JB set. And we was like, we would have dates. I'm like, man, y'all gotta watch this nigga. And you know what's funny? Everybody don't even get that type of comedy sometimes, the way JB would do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to me because some people, you know, I remember having a real conversation with JB years later, and I realized how many of them New York comics didn't like this nigga.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't like his style.
Yeah.
I thought that was crazy. I said, what?
Nah, this.
When I tell you, when JB was in town, I don't give a fuck if all of us was beefing, Chicago comedians.
Showed up.
Nigga, we all stood in the back of a sold-out show.
What?
Dying laughing. To this day, has never been a comedian that had that type of motherfucker.
Who would be in the back? Who?
George Wilburn, Tony Schofield, Leon Rogers, fucking Corey Holcomb if he in town, Jeff B., Damon Williams.
All of y'all showing up to watch JB.
There. Everybody, new and old. Dying laughing. You would hear George go, ah. Niggas couldn't, nigga, I caught a cold watching this nigga.
This is crazy to me.
We love J. That's why JB came to Chicago so much. That's where Shy from. His wife. He met her in Chicago.
Jesus Christ.
That nigga was like, you know something? If these niggas fuck with me, this is what I'm gonna come to. We at Chicago, when JB was coming, everybody's like, oh shit. Are y'all ready for the motherfucking rough ride? And when the stage come, I mean, nigga. This nigga did the fight bit where, you know, the nigga fought him all the way home.
Oh, yeah.
And woke the grandmother up.
Yeah.
He's going, like, look, man, you can't come in the house. I mean, like,
you can't
you
come
like,
in the
when
house.
is it going to stop?
Yeah, when
he
does
said,
it
my
stop?
grandmother's sleeping. And then the grandmother wake up, and the nigga start hitting the grandmother. Yo.
Listen, man, I promise you, like, the cats don't get the opportunity to understand why, because now they go, oh, that's Leon from Curb. No, you got to go back to early JB when he would, your shoes leaning over on the side and in the circle and going around in a circle for 20.
Shooting? He said, oh, shit, I can't get out the club. Nigga, first of all, before he even got to that point, he was just doing shit. The drink is like, it's
the drink leaning to the side, like.
Dude, the skate.
That's why I said the milkman, bro. He gonna take one bit and turn it into.
That's how I learned to milk a bit, was from JB motherfucking Smooth.
Oh, so, okay, I'm wrapping this shit up. But this is why I said we gotta have these comedy watch parties. That's why I told you specifically we gotta do these comedy watch parties, because we can bring cats like JB up on stage and have these conversations.
It's just certain niggas that, I mean, even Damon Wayans is...
Man, listen, this is what I was gonna tell you. You talk about, look, Damon's bit, talking about his kids won't listen to him, but they'll listen to Michael Jackson. Like, those are types of bits that, and I'm a fangirl for Damon. Anybody that knows me, that knows my stand-up, knows that I'm a Damon fangirl, right? Like, we'll put on a cheerleader skirt, do the kick high,